In this video, we want to talk about multidimensional array in PHP. You can think of the multidimensional array as an array of arrays. So what we're talking about here is you'll now begin to create arrays inside of arrays. You could have two-dimensional array like an array inside an array. You could have three-dimensional arrays like an array inside an array inside an array. That becomes three arrays deep. You could as well have four-dimensional arrays and as much as possible. The more the arrays deep, the more complicated or complex the array gets. So let's take a very simple example of an associative multi-dimensional array, just like the one you are seeing on the screen. Okay, you might be a little bit confused here, so let's just take this off, and now it is off. And right now what we want to do is create that array from the scratch. Now I want to create our very first associative multi-dimensional array. We'll just keep this as simple as a two-dimensional associative array. So let's say I want to create a social website that would hold the details of people, like their profile details, what are their favorites, and their personal details. You can create an array of an array to take care of that. Say I create an array and I name the array social website, for example. So we can set this to an array, as you can see here. So I like to just close this off once and for all. So in between, I hit the return key and I come somewhere here, indent, and then create my key and value pair. So the key I'll be creating now is profile details, just like that. I remember how to create the value, the equal to, and then the greater than. Then we want to set this to its value, but its value is another array. So this is going to be equal to an array, this array. Fair enough. So in between the parentheses, I'll hit the enter key, the return key once again, and start creating my array as it is. So at this point, I would like to indent. Then I will start with another key value pair, because this array is another associative array. So my first key is going to be first name, and I'll set it to the value of my first name. That being said and done, the comma will follow. I hit the enter key. My next key value pair is going to be last name, and I'm going to set this to the value of my last name. And then another final value will be age, key value pair age. I'm going to set this to an age of my choice, which will be this. So this is the first array we are creating within the main array. So this is another key value pair. This is the key, and this is its value, which is also an array. So I'll just type comma and create another array, another key value pair as it may. So I could have, say I want to get the favorite of this individual and store it into this other key value pair. So I'll just set this to another array, for example, open and close, hit the enter key, indent, then I'm going to have this best food, and this best food in this case is going to be, let's see, I'll stick with bread and bacon. Fair enough. So comma, next I need best game, and everyone seems to like football, so we'll just stick with football. And then finally I'll collect the best music, and let's just say blues, for example. So that being said and done, I'm done with this other one, the comma, and then I want to create one more key value per key being just a string and then the value being an array. I hope you are getting the idea of what we're doing here. So this is going to be personal details, for example. Don't forget to put this within quotes, whether single or double if you may. Then the value is going to be an array once again. Enter, return. So I'm going to have email, for example, as part first personal detail. So I'm going to have the email of this person set as the value. So let me just keep this as simple as possible. gmail.com, then comma. Next, let's say we're gonna have his phone number stored here. So we're gonna have phone number and we'll set it to his phone number. So I hope you guys are just getting a hang of the idea we're just trying to pass here. All we're just doing now is populating this multi-dimensional array. So finally, the last detail we like to get for this person is the website. So we just keep this as simple as akskills.com. Yeah, fair enough. Then this is the last array of array in this block, so there's no need to end it with a comma since this is the last one. So we have three different arrays inside the main array. So this is a multi-dimensional associative array we have just created here. So now the next problem is, how then do we look through this array to get all the details? We can make use of our wonderful for each loop. So I could say for each, for example, and within the for each we are going to say we want to look through social website array. Now as will follow as you have learned in previous tutorial. After this we are going to choose a temporary key. So I'm going to create a temporary key details to hold this key, this main key here, 1, 2 and 3 keys that we have here. Then we then set a temporary value variable. So I'm going to call this one details value. Fair enough. So this will help us to look through the arrays. Then my curly bracket, and then right here we would also need another array. Why? Because this temporary key is set to this, and this. But then we will need something else to arrange or handle this, and this. And remember, these three I just highlighted are stored here. So we need to look through this particular one. So we need another for each inside of here. So we say for each, this time around, details value as, then we can now create another temporary key variable. Let me just call this one key, and then another temporary value variable, and I'll just call this values. Then don't forget your curly braces, and in between we can perform as much as we want to. So trying to keep this as simple as possible, I just want to output the keys and then their associated values. So what I'm simply going to do here is as simple as this. I simply want to echo this and this. On their top I want this. So remember, this is handled by this. So let me just come underneath here and simply say echo what? Simply echo details, and then an HTML line break. Don't forget to surround this within the double quotes, and don't forget your end of statement. So this would ensure that this will serve as the heading. Now inside this, we can now specify a key value pair. Like we can now output this key and value. So what I'm simply going to do here is echo the keys, and then in front of it we want to have their values. That is all. Don't forget to output this correctly. So an end of statement. Then somewhere around here I need a line break so that everything would output nicely. So I'll just do the BR tag like twice. That's all. So you take a very good look at this, and this should give you an idea of what is going to happen. So let me just refresh this and let's say this. Hopefully there are no errors. If I save this, we get a syntax error on line 13, and that is because nobody told me that I did not put the greater than symbol, and here too I notice another one. So that being said and done, all we need to do now is save this and refresh this, and then we still get another error. And why is that? This is simply because here I specified key and here I asked to output keys. So at this point we are going to eliminate this S, save this and refresh this, and everything seems to output nicely. This is not too clear, so what we can as well do here is just come somewhere here and do a line break, BR /, then we save this, and you notice they all fall on different lines. So what we have just done is output each of these main keys as their head, and the second array as well. We output them nicely underneath each of those main keys. So if you still want this to look a bit better, we could just come here and apply the strong tag in HTML. Please try as much as possible to avoid typos. All the errors I have been making since is just so you see how to handle some kind of errors you might face in PHP. So I save this and refresh this. You see that everything comes out really bold, the heading. Fair enough. That being taken care of, you might say, I want this underneath numbered. Okay, fair enough. We could just come somewhere here and create a variable j, for example, and set it to 1. Fair enough. Then we can come here and then make use of that variable. Okay, so we just want 1 dot and then the key values. Good. And then that being said and done, we need to increase this every time so that when it comes back it becomes 2. When it comes again it becomes 3. So what we can do to take care of that is simply say j++ somewhere here. This shouldn't be too new to you guys, so if I just save this and refresh this, you notice that each one is numbered well. So what we are simply doing here is we created a multi-dimensional array here within this social website variable, which is not just a variable but an array. There is a main array here. This is the main array. It opens here and then it closes here. Inside the array itself we have an associative array, all right, because this is the key value pair. But then the value of the first key is an array in itself. The value of the second key is also an array in itself, same as the third key. And then we learned how to loop through the array to ensure that everything outputs nicely, or we can gain access to a particular value at a particular time.